Hey everybody, this is a supercut of a couple days worth of video. I want to get you guys caught up to me in like real time so that as we get into the Kickstarter, there's not this huge delay between things happening in the videos and things happening in reality. So after this, I'm going to record a video and then edit that same video that night. This video consists of daily vlogs 28 through 31. And then the 2 days after that, I did not record a video because I did not work on Design the Everything. The next video will be daily vlog 32, and that's going to be the first video that I edit on the same day that I record. So this video may be a little bit different. I wasn't really in the mood for recording today, and I wanted to start working on the machine upgrades, so I just did them with some time lapses. I hope they're at least somewhat interesting. I got two big things done on the machine. One, I put in some Y-axis protective flaps on top of the way covers. Those are from Tormach, and they just provide some additional protection for the way covers, which are kind of one of the weak points on this machine. Though I did find out that I put the one on the front Y cover on backwards, and so I need to reverse that at some point. But I can't do that right without taking off the fixture plate, so it's just gonna live backwards for a little while. Speaking of the fixture plate, I also got the plugs all installed on, well, the fixture plate. That's just to keep the holes clean and make everything easier to clean off, which the new coolant system helps a lot with. The biggest thing I did today was getting that system installed. I pieced one together myself. I did not use the Tormach one. DIYing it both made it cheaper, but it also gave me a better system. This is one of those times where you can do it easier and cheaper yourself. The installation wasn't any more difficult, but I have twice the power in the pump, and I'm not sure what the Tormach inside line diameter is, but I have a 5/8 ID on the coolant line, which is way better than the Tormach one and is giving me much less pressure drop. I also hooked up a wash down hose. I did some really aggressive washing with that hose in the machine, and I did find a couple small leaks in my enclosure, but I can just use some more of that polyurethane sealant and seal those right up. It's not a big deal. Though I probably should do that before I do a long production run of anything. The last big upgrade I have for this machine, if I remember right, is an automatic oiler. which won't really improve the performance or the usability or anything, but it will make the machine last longer just because it guarantees that it's always getting enough oil and I don't have to remember to pull the little knob every 4 hours or whatever it is. That should be pretty easy to plumb in. Honestly, the hardest part's probably going to be programming it to pump at the right intervals, just because it's a Far East Asian import that doesn't necessarily have good documentation. If you want to buy something we make, you can find it on designtheeverything.com. I'm going to go do computer work for the rest of the night. Good night. Hey everybody, I'm going to be spending most of the day doing computer work, but I have a quick machining project that I want to do first. Now this is something a little bit different, and it's a departure from what I've kind of been doing, but I want to test out some new strategies that I'm going to use if they work on the next Kickstarter project, the next carabiner. So while yes, this project is random, it does have a purpose. It's an R&D project. Basically, I'm trying new techniques so that I can use them later, just putting tools in my pocket. As with everything, the first step is fixturing, and to do that today, we are going to make some soft jaws, just cutting right over this last fixture I had in them, so we are not, wasting another side of them. These are about as simple as it gets. I'm just going to put a 1-inch diameter hole right there. I just had to stop because I realized I made a mistake when I designed the soft jaws. My plan was to bore all the way down through them so that I could just stick my part through. I don't need a Z reference on this setup. The problem is that there is Saunders Machine Works mod vise underneath the soft jaws. And if I had gone all the way through, I would have cut into my mod vise here and probably broken my tool, or at least chipped the corners. I also, when I saw this, I realized that I'm leaving a little bit of post in the middle. So new code does not go all the way down, all the way through, and it does 2 passes so that it doesn't leave this post here. So let's try that one more time. That'll work. Now we can just stick my part in there and tighten it back down. I probably should have cut that a little bit shorter, but it should be fine. Famous last words. It might be a little bit chattery up top, but we're going to be using small tools and light tool pressure. Down farther down, it'll be fine. So let's talk about the goal here and how we're going to make these parts. Saunders Machine Works likes to say that bar-fed lathes are the cheapest form of automation. I would like to make an argument that slitting saws are the cheapest form of automation. My goal is to make several parts from that one bar in an automated fashion, where we will machine a part, slit it off, and then machine the next part, just basically taking salami slices going down the part, going down the stock. I'm a little bit worried about what will happen to my part after it's done being parted off. I'm pretty sure it'll be imparted with a fair amount of momentum. But they're small, light parts, and so, fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. If this does not work particularly well, we will find an alternative option for removing the part. But honestly, this thing's running at a fairly low RPM, and I think it'll just kind of go whoop and fall off onto the table or into the chip pan, and we just have to dig them out later. Again, if it works, then we can start worrying about some sort of parts catcher or something. But in the meantime, we're just gonna salami slice them off, and the chips will fall where they will. I just probed in my work coordinate system, so I think we're good to go. I panicked and turned it off because of the flood coolant. It's a little bit chattery. I think it's because of the Delrin and the long stick out. There's not much material removal though. That's very chattery. So for filming, mist coolant is definitely better. So far so good though. Okay, Mr. Tool Changer, what's going on? I had to rehome the ATC, which is something you don't like ever have to do. And that seemed to work, but I don't know, that was weird. This one sounds better. It's an 1/8 inch tool. Maybe I should just do all the roughing with the smaller tool. If I made this part out of aluminum, I assume it would be more rigid. The Delrin is probably working against me there. Though of course it's like the easiest thing to machine ever. All right, I think we're ready for our part off. Uh-oh, it's doing it again. Oh, come on. The tool changer did the thing again. I had to rehome the ATC again to get this tool loaded. Definitely something going on there. Okay, this one's kind of scary, so I'm not gonna be messing with the camera. I'm just gonna be focusing on the computer. It's working. It's parting off the part. Now let's see what happens to the part when it gets all the way through. It's still on there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it followed the coolant. All right. So now we should be starting this whole thing over again. So there's a fresh part here. Ooh, it's a really nice finish on it. And the part itself is down there somewhere. And we're good to go on to the next little salami slice. So I'm gonna close the door and let's try this again. Assuming my tool changer works more than once. So we're gonna go back to the 1/4 inch tool. Okay, that time it worked, that's good. I'm not convinced it's actually cutting. My heights may be off a little bit. Though it doesn't really need to cut. That finish from the slitting saw was so good. Still a little chattery here. I'm gonna turn off the option stop. Not as chattery though. My mic died. Uh-oh, stupid ATC. There is a procedure for realigning the spindle with the little nut in there, and I think I have to go through that now. Hopefully that does it. All right, first try. Well, that seems to work pretty well. It pretty consistently shot these to the same place, though I think I cut 5 and I only have 4. So there's one I think is buried in an aluminum chip somewhere down there. But not a bad for a proof of concept. You think we should do aluminum? I think we should do aluminum. Okay, aluminum's in there. This time we're gonna do 10 pieces instead of 5. And hopefully it works. I'm a little bit worried about my feeds and speeds up here, or I should say about the part rigidity up here. especially on the slitting saw, because that's an awfully long way to go. Like, it's a lot of stick out. But as we go down, it should get better and better. Maybe in the future I can't do 10 at a time. Maybe I can only do 6 or whatever, but with just starting it lower. But I did dial back some of my feeds and speeds, and I'm only using this 1/4 inch to face off the top. After that, I will be doing all material removal with this 1/8 inch and more gentle speeds and feeds, which will hopefully mean less tool pressure, which means less vibration there. Or that's the theory. Let's see how it goes. It sounds way better. I'm not sure what happened there. It stopped in the middle of parting that off. Though the error says tool setter input changed during motion. And I kind of wonder if like my extra long tube here whacked the tool setter. Fortunately, I have it on time lapse, so maybe I'll be able to tell. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna finally trim this long piece here. This was just like extra slack that I left in because I wasn't sure this was gonna be finalized. At this point, I think I can say it's finalized. Okay, I think I know what happened. So, you know, that slitting saw path is not exactly gentle. And watch what happens if I do this. So I'm gonna jog across and whack the table. Okay, that worked a second ago. I hate everything. Oh, I just sprayed my face with coolant doing that. Okay, this worked a second ago. Well, that worked a second ago. It actually stopped the table within air because of the tool setter changing. But maybe not. I don't know. That's bizarre. I don't think the spindle stalled because it would have had a different issue, a different warning notice. I'm gonna just try to run that parting operation again. I will definitely be keeping an eye on it, but at this point I do think that spare coolant hose hit the tool setter and that's what stopped the machine. That was weird though, and a little bit worrying. I got the hose fixed and we'll see if it works. Nope, it just parted, so. I don't know, I need to work on those speeds and feeds. That still does not sound good. But so far it's working. I'm really good at finding these weird machine issues. So the tool change did not work again. And I tried a couple things, and I tried running the spindle encoder test, which restarts the controller afterwards. But when I restarted the controller, it decided to just boot into BIOS, which normally means there's a hard drive issue, potentially that the plug is unplugged a little bit. So now I'm gonna open up the controller here after I turn off power and re-plug in the hard drive to see if that makes a difference. I opened up the controller, unplugged the hard drive, plug it back in again, and I think that did it. It just needed to have its cord reset. It probably got bumped or something as I was moving around and doing the upgrades for the machine. Though I wonder if that fixes my tool change issues. We'll find out. The program just finished running. That's how much stock there is left. And honestly, there's plenty of room to get at least 1 or 2 more out of there. Except for some issues with the tool changer, production went flawlessly. I didn't have any issues with my code or with the strategies. And now I have 10 little aluminum meeples. The process does leave a little belly button, with lack of better word, just an itty bitty tiny tab there, which is just a little bit too thick to comfortably break off by hand. But if you just take it to some sandpaper, you can smooth it out in, I don't know, 5 seconds. So I'm definitely calling this a win, even if it does need a little bit of improvement on my slitting saw speeds and feeds, but it works. If you'd like to get one for free, all of my Patreons this month are gonna get a free Meeple, whether you're at the prototype of the month level or at the $3 level. So if you want a Meeple, sign up for my Patreon. Otherwise, you'll be able to find them at designtheeverything.com. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Man, I've got a ton of work to do, but we're so close to the Kickstarter launch. Today's gonna be mostly computer work, but I wanted to talk about a couple things before I get started on that. First of all, let's take a look at the mill. So I ran a bunch of Meeples yesterday. I think I have 30 in the house, and then I started some for the night run. And let's see, we got 2 Meeples there, and it looks like it stopped during this 3rd Meeple. And actually, like, I can freely rotate this, and the air is our tool setter thingy again. So apparently, if you vibrate the table enough, the tool setter will stop it. I've actually heard of people having this issue before, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I could unplug the tool setter, which is probably what I will do. There's also people that have taken the Tormach USB I/O board, the in and out board, and actually put the tool setter through a relay so that they can choose when to turn that on and off with an M code. And like they'll start a program and turn it off and then turn it back on at the end, which I don't think I'm gonna bother doing. So I guess I'm just gonna unplug it and try to make sure that I don't set a tool, because that would be bad. Maybe I'll just like put a cap or something over the tool setter, and that cap will tell me, hey, if you remove this cap, you need to plug in the tool setter. So I think that's probably the way to do it. In the past, I have done in-process tool checking, tool breakage detection. It's not something I do very often though, and it doesn't really matter for any of the products I'm working on right now. Like the carabiners are only one tool, so it's not like if that tool breaks, it's gonna break all the tools behind it. It's just gonna break that one tool and then not do anything. Which if I had tool breakage detection, it would still break that one tool and then not do anything until I came and checked on it anyway. So I'm not losing anything by covering that up for now. But the bigger thing to happen is this right here. This is not a hat, but a package from Send Cut Send. Let's see what we have in here. Ta-da! Oh, and a piece of candy. In here, we have 50 carabiners and 100 key rings. So people on Instagram, probably not YouTube. I don't have any friends on YouTube or friends in the right area. But I'm gonna send out a bunch of these, and hopefully they get some more eyeballs on my campaign, which hopefully gets me some more sales. So I need to make these like ASAP, because I would like to launch on September 7th, and I'm not ready yet. And I need to get these sent out, not necessarily beforehand, though that would be nice, but soon thereafter, at very least, if they're gonna be effective. So I need to get moving. Oh yeah, but before I do that, I want to redesign and remake my entire fixture and manufacturing process. So that'll have to happen first. Yeah, there's a lot of work. Unfortunately, I can't focus on machining right now. I need to focus on computer work, which is the bane of my existence right now. I have a really easy time focusing on like machining and that kind of thing. I have a much harder time focusing on computer work. It's too easy to want to go do something that's physical and like clear and obvious, and focusing on the creative work for me is more difficult, and it's really where I need to be spending a lot of my time now. Over the last, week or two, I've done a good job at what I'm gonna call workcrastination, which is working instead of doing what I actually need to be doing. So it's time to learn how to focus on these things. Step 1 for today is to write the script for my Kickstarter video and maybe record it if I get time. No, do you know what? No, maybe. That's what I'm doing today. I'm gonna write a Kickstarter script, I'm gonna record the video after I eat a Sour Patch Kid. Hi, my name is AJ, and I'm addicted to making meeples. I've got about 40 in the tumbler right now, and I'm thinking about making more. Mostly because making them is so satisfying. The way I was making them, The way I was making them is I had some 1-inch diameter rods sticking straight up in my mill, and I would make one and then slitting saw it off, and then repeat that process going down the bar. So I was getting finished parts off my mill in a, I mean, not automated manner, but like a high capacity manner, a high density manner, where I had almost zero material waste. And from a very high density setup, I was able to get a lot of parts without any human interaction. And there's nothing more satisfying than hitting a button on your mill and then it just spitting out finished parts. Like that is the dream of CNC. And I've been living that dream, and I want it more and better and faster and cheaper. This is not what I should be spending my time on, mind you, but it's been fun, so I'm gonna continue doing it. My innovation, which is, I'm sure a million people have done this, but instead of using a bar and going from the end down, which causes a bunch of tool changes, I'm going to make them from this piece of 3/4 inch aluminum. And I can get like 6 or 7 going across it lengthwise and then slitting saw them all off at once. And what that means is 7 times less tool changes. And I think this bar is going to be a lot more rigid than trying to stick this round bar up in the air 4 inches. So I should be able to get like, I haven't done the math yet, like 6 times, I did math stupid. I should be able to get 48 meeples out of this bar fairly easily, I would imagine, with one setup and, you know, automatic parting and stuff from the mill. And I can't not try this right now. When it's running, I'll be working on my Kickstarter, but in the meantime, I have to do this. Speaking of meeples, if you would like a meeple, all of my Patreons this month are going to get a free meeple. Whether you're in the $3 tier or the $30 tier, you can have a meeple. I might have enough. I have a lot of meeples. They're in the Tumblr right now. So this is a great month to join my Patreon. I got my brand new Saunders Machine Works serrated jaws put on. I have to say, those are pretty handy, especially since they have that nice little built-in parallel, and they don't take much stock to hold onto here. I'm probably going to use those a lot in the future. Theoretically, we should be getting 42 meeples out of this block. It'll take about an hour, a little under an hour to run, which is much better than what we were doing before, which is about an hour for 11 meeples. So we've 4x'd our production, assuming this works, and I think it will. That sounded terrible, so I had to stop it. All right, shallower depth of cut, faster feed per tooth, but slower RPM. Let's see if this does any better. Well, right now it's still basically air cutting, but next pass it should be good. Still a little squeaky, but not nearly as bad. It sounds like it's wobbling. Is that the last pass? Yep, okay, so now it's gonna come to the other side. I just played with the speeds on the, like with the manual. Oh look, I just cut it off! I wonder how well that worked. Oh, okay, it's on an option stop. I'm gonna pull it out apart. Oh look, they're on a chain. I have a chain of meeples. That actually might be highly convenient. How's my finish here? That doesn't look so bad. I don't know, that might be doable. Now we start over. Back to roughing out the next set. Okay, I just finished recording the Kickstarter video, I hope. It's a little bit more talky heady. I mean, this is the exact framing I used. And hopefully I have enough B-roll to make it look good. And hopefully the audio works, and hopefully the video works, and hopefully my script works. Because, I don't know, I guess Kickstarter videos really aren't all that important, if I'm being honest, but I have a lot riding on this campaign, so let's hope it goes well. So just 1 hour later, I have 42 Meeples, all on ribbons, except for the one that I took apart earlier. Most of these were sitting right here on the table, though one had fallen down there and one was over in the chip tray there, so pretty controllable. And honestly, I probably could have gotten an 8th row of Meeples out of here, though my biggest worry is hitting the nut here on the bottom of the saw, which is pretty sizable. So I think just for safety and like not wanting to scrap my $80 saw blade and my $160 tool holder, I'm just gonna be conservative. And now I have a nice piece of bar stock for some future project. I like this process.